If you enjoy eating shrimp but don't enjoy cleaning them, this little tip will save you time and help every shrimp look perfect. Hello everyone, I'm Nancy. I know many people love eating shrimp, but when it comes to removing that dark vein, it suddenly feels like too much trouble. Some methods crush the shrimp, some take far too long, and some just leave the kitchen a mess. Today, I want to share a very simple trick that takes only a few seconds and keeps the shrimp whole and beautiful. You don't need any special tools or strong hands. You only need one small item that you already have at home. Stay with me, because once you learn this method, cleaning shrimp will feel easy and no longer stressful. To clean shrimp properly, everything starts with choosing the right shrimp and understanding why some common methods don't work as well as we expect. In today's video, I'm using fresh shrimp because they have better texture and flavor. When buying shrimp, look for ones that smell clean and fresh, like the ocean, with firm bodies and shiny shells. If fresh shrimp aren't available, frozen shrimp are fine too, as long as they're thawed correctly. The method I'm sharing works for both, but fresh shrimp usually give the best results. Now let's talk about the ways many people usually remove the shrimp vein. One very common method is pulling off the shrimp head and hoping the vein comes out with it. Sometimes this works, especially with very fresh shrimp, but most of the time the vein breaks halfway. When that happens, you end up struggling to pull out the rest. Another popular method is cutting straight along the back of the shrimp with a knife or scissors. This makes the vein easy to see and remove, and it also makes peeling the shell faster. However, the big downside is that the long cut makes the shrimp look torn and uneven. The meat spreads apart, and the shrimp loses its natural curved shape when it's placed on a plate. Do you usually remove the shrimp vein this way? If you have a simpler or easier method, please share it with me in the comments. I'd really love to learn more from your kitchen experience. This method might be fine if you're making dumpling filling or chopping shrimp for a stir fry. But if you want to cook whole shrimp for boiling, steaming, or pan frying, appearance really matters. Shrimp that are split open don't look very appetizing, especially when you're cooking for family or guests. That's why these common methods, even though they are easy, aren't ideal if you want shrimp that are clean, neat, and perfectly intact. Now I'll show you the main trick of today's video. A simple method using a toothpick or dental floss to remove the shrimp vein quickly, cleanly, and surprisingly easily. Hold the shrimp gently in one hand and look closely at the joint where the head meets the body. Right at that connection point, you'll see a small gap. This is where the shrimp vein runs closest to the surface. Use the pointed end of a toothpick and gently insert it into that spot. When the toothpick catches the vein, lift it slightly. You'll see the dark line begin to come out. At this point, use your fingers to slowly and gently pull it out. If you hook the right spot, the vein will slide out in one long, clean piece. It's very satisfying to see it come out completely, while the shrimp stays whole, with no torn back or broken body. This method works especially well with fresh shrimp because the vein is more elastic and comes out easily with a gentle pull. With frozen shrimp, the vein can break more easily, so it's important to be extra gentle and precise. Even so, this method is still far more reliable than pulling off the head or cutting along the back. After removing the vein, you can gently peel the shell and clean the shrimp head if needed. The shrimp meat underneath will look clean, smooth, and intact, perfect for cooking. I still remember the first time I cooked shrimp for my family and felt embarrassed because every shrimp looked torn and messy. I pulled off the heads and cut along the backs, but when I finished, They didn't look appetizing at all. A few years later, I learned this simple toothpick trick, and it completely changed the way I cook shrimp. Now the shrimp stay whole, clean, and beautiful, and I feel much more confident serving them at the table. Sometimes it's these small, simple tips that make cooking more enjoyable. Do you cook shrimp often at home or only on special occasions? I'd really love to know. Once the shrimp are cleaned and looking beautiful, let's make a simple, delicious shrimp pasta that's easy to prepare and perfect for any day of the week. This is a comforting dish you can make at home using simple ingredients. First, bring a pot of salted water to a boil and cook the spaghetti until just tender, not too soft. Before draining, remember to save about half a cup of the pasta cooking water. This starchy water is very important because it helps the sauce become smooth later. Drain the pasta and set it aside. Next, heat a little olive oil in a wide pan over medium-high heat. Add the shrimp and cook until they turn pink and lightly golden on both sides. This only takes a few minutes. Once cooked, remove the shrimp from the pan and set them aside so they don't overcook. Using the same pan, add a little butter and let it melt gently. Add sliced onions and cook until they're soft and translucent. This creates a sweet, warm base for the sauce. Then add minced garlic, a pinch of chili flakes, Italian seasoning, salt, and black pepper. Stir everything together and cook for 1 to 2 minutes until the kitchen starts to smell wonderful. Now sprinkle in some shredded cheese and stir gently until it melts into a smooth, creamy sauce. Pour in the reserved pasta water and let it simmer for 2 to 3 minutes. You'll see the sauce thicken and become silky. Finally, return the shrimp and pasta to the pan. Toss everything gently for about 1 minute until the pasta is evenly coated and the shrimp are warmed through. And that's it. You've just made a simple homemade shrimp pasta that's delicious, nourishing, and perfect to share with family or to enjoy quietly on your own. I hope today's little tip helps you feel more confident in the kitchen. Take good care of yourself, eat well, and remember that simple habits can bring a lot of comfort to everyday life. If you find my tips helpful, don't forget to subscribe and share them with others. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I'll see you again in the next video.